I think there are many films that have been made where the storyline is about a person or persons who decide to do something about a situation they see as being wrong or unfair. I hope that Harry Brown is a fine piece of filmmaking, more than a genre film. You know, it treats the audience with quite a degree of intelligence. The way the story is structured is not normal genre stuff where everything has to be shown all the time. And, you know, I want to do intelligent commercial cinema because I want to get through to a few more people than a load of, you know, liberals in Hampstead, middle-aged intellectuals or whatever. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, it's the same to a younger audience. I want to make them think. I want to see what they think about it. You know, and test screenings we've done have been amazing with the younger audience to see it, just to hear what they have to say.
Yeah.
And how they react to things, how they laugh at certain points, which we probably wouldn't. As someone who's slightly older, you know, telling a police person that you want to fuck him up the arse is not my idea. I couldn't dream of doing something like that. But that they do, and they treat the police with such disrespect or any form of authority, is not inaccurate in any way, you know, and that's very worrying. They know how to play the game, they know what to say, what not to say, who to say things to. And we had police presence there all the time. I had a really high-ranking police officer helping me because I wanted to get it realistic. We didn't go far enough as far as he was concerned in certain areas. There's nothing fake about it. They are the real deal, you know. Ben Drew, Plan B, is the real deal, you know. Jamie Downey, Jack O'Connell, they don't come from these wealthy they're all from the streets, these guys, you know. So they're perfect for the part, and I love the contrast between them and Kane, you know. I mean, it makes for some really amazing situations, you know.
I come from where the movie was shot, so I know what I was talking about. You know, I was back home really. It was quite weird, and all the young, you know, the young guys, the really tough guys, looked at me, said, "Where did you come from?" To me. And I said, "About 500 yards over there." And they didn't believe me. And because they said, "How did you get out?" I said, very carefully, very carefully. I'd like to take away from the movie that more has got to be done for young people. These people who we regard as terrible criminals, and let's all shut them up. Why not shut them up in a school and educate them and give them a life instead of shutting them up in prison and teaching them how to be criminals?
Films need to be entertaining as well. Maybe if it was an accurate portrayal, it would take a lot longer to get from start to finish. It wouldn't all happen in the space of a week. It would probably happen over the space of a month. And these are the kind of liberties you take with films, artistic licensing. And I guess because I've never been in a situation like it, I couldn't sit here with my hand on my heart and say, you know, it's an accurate, you know, representation of something that happens on the street every day. I don't think this is something that happens in the street every day, but I think that it does happen. And I think that in order to tell the kind of story of the film, you know, it needs to be slightly exaggerated.
Attack the Block is about a gang of teenage kids who protect their South London tower block from an alien invasion.
There you go, in a sentence. Was that your pitch?
Yeah, inner city versus outer space. It is. That's a
great tagline on the poster, by the way.
It's you know, it's a throwback to the movies I used to love when I was growing up, to 80s creature movies. And in the 80s, America made a series of amazing films that kind of fused social realism with fantasy. E.T., Critters, Gremlins, Tremors, Predator to an extent.
2,
That's a sort of, Predator 2. And when I was growing up, I was always frustrated that British cinema never attempted a narrative like that. And I would come out of the cinema in Streatham or Brixton or the West End as a kid and project my fantasies onto my environment like all kids do, but I never saw that reflected in our cinema.
I know. The film starts with a mugging, as I believe the story for this film does. You were mugged a few years back. Who mugged you?
A little group of kids. It was quite a pathetic encounter, but it really surprised me, and it made me want to find out why that kid had made that, thought that was an acceptable thing to do at that time, and so that spurred a lot of research.
How old were they?
They were young.
13, 14, that kind of thing?
Well, you know, in a way, that is a reveal in the film. So
I'm talking about your
wouldn't-
incident when you.
Yeah,
you know,
but the film takes one or two things from that, so it's
From the
so
mugging.
some of it is part of the plot. But they were surprisingly young. But that is very much, you know, Attack the Block is trying to be like a John Carpenter movie. It's basically can be viewed as just a crazy, fun, cool action thriller, but beneath it, if you choose to see it, is a little bit of a social subtext, a little like Assault on Precinct 13, or The Thing, or, you know, in fact, a lot of 80s, you know, a lot of movies generally have a subtext. You know, E.T. is a film about divorce, and, you know, as much as it's a film about an alien. You know, Gremlins even is a film about, you know, if you really want to get into it, it's thematically about the death of the American manufacturing industry or the threat
tell
that
you
Asia
studied
was.
it.
Well, and also, it's,
Yeah.
it's the anti, you know, It's a Wonderful Life and all the stuff with Santa Claus getting stuck down the chimney. And actually, the funny thing about Gremlins is people forget just how black the humour
Yeah.
in it is. I think the first Gremlins is still rated 15 here. I mean, it certainly was when it first came out.
You were saying about the research that you carried out to find out the kind of kids who would have carried out this kind of crime. So you went where with what?
I formulated a story, and then I went round loads and loads of youth clubs in South London and talked to hundreds and hundreds of young people, talked them through the story. I made notes of everything they said. I tried to teach myself the slang they used as if it was like a linguaphone course, or I was learning Italian or something, and I did it for months and months and months and months.
Because it's fair to say that the voices that they speak in would not normally come out of your mouth.
Yeah, and these kids have invented their own language, and it's like flipping Chaucer. It's colourful, it's chewy, it's cool, it's useful, and I thought it was a science fictional thing. Most of all, it reminded me of Clockwork Orange. There are issues with young people in inner cities in Britain, and one of the issues is that they are that people are sort of afraid to engage with it because they feel it's so different. And do you know what I mean? And it's fine.